Did those Allah people hear about Colgate?
Not the protests for Palestine, Allah Akbar.
They at your,
Yeah, thankfully there was a protest.
at your school?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
small. Yeah, super peaceful, super small, and then everyone was like, on Yik Yak complaining.
What do you think about what's happened with that?
I think that it's both really clear cut and complicated. I think that it's really hard to sit back and judge the techniques of protest or, mostly actually from Palestinians themselves when we don't know what it's like to be put in that position, oppressed for so long, living on your land, but not really being able to call it that. And, as harsh as it is, like, at the end of the day, I don't think that, I think that, like, a lot of Jews think that by saying that Israel shouldn't exist, they think that they're negating their Judaism and their Jewness, and they think that they're, like, denying it, but it's not about that. It's about, like, imperialism.
Imperialism?
Imperialism,
Oh.
because, like, Israel was given to the Jews by imperialistic,
Be quiet, we have some Jews in our No, I'm joking. Really, that's what you think about it?
Yeah, so, and I think that it's great that we're starting to uncover where universities are divesting their funding. I think that that's something that's really important and should continue.
Amazing. Is this your first time here too?
I'm sorry.
Your first time here?
Yes.
Oh,
Your place?
right.
Yes. But I'm a little familiar with
You what?
I go to the Agape International.
Oh, I see. You're live. I'm talking to the twins. Good morning. Welcome to Fellowship. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you all so much for being with me. You can get involved by going to our YouTube chat line, and Hake will pass on your comments or questions to me and whatever. Also, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Apparently today is Mother's Day. And I didn't know it. I knew it, but it didn't feel like Mother's Day. But happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers. And good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
How y'all? So you guys are twins?
No, we're a year and a half apart, brothers.
A year and a half apart?
Yeah.
Why y'all look so much alike?
Strong genes, I guess.
Right on.
Yeah.
White jeans. Amazing. Well, this your first time here?
Yeah.
And how did you hear about us?
Just through the YouTube.
Oh,
Through the YouTube for a while.
right on.
Been meaning to come to actual service.
What's your first name?
Josh,
Welcome, Josh.
thank you.
All right. And your name?
Isaiah.
What is it?
Isaiah.
Oh, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Welcome, Isaiah. You found us on YouTube as well?
Yeah, I think he came across it first a couple years ago and then showed me.
Who's the oldest? Oh,
Yeah.
no. Can you beat him?
Like physically?
Yes.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Come up here, let's find out.
Yeah.
Welcome, man.
Appreciate it.
And your first name?
Hello, sir. It's Claudia. It's my first time. I just discovered you like a month ago, and now I'm a huge fan, and
Right
I'm
on.
happy to be here.
Well, welcome.
Thank
You live in New York or LA?
No, I live in LA. Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
was
Your
really
daughter.
happy to I saw your location. I'm like, oh my God, that's so close by.
Right on. Nice. And your name?
Sunni. I came to accommodate her, Mother's Day. She came to accommodate her. It's a Mother's
She
Day.
came not to want to be here. Welcome. What's your name, your first name?
Lucrezia.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We're going to have fun. And your name? You've been here before, right? Oh, yeah. How about you? Oh, yeah. You guys been here. How's everybody?
Amazing.
Amazing. Any questions or anything before I get rolling? Where you been, Mae Mae?
I made a deal with the devil.
I thought you had. You and so what deal did you make with the devil?
In order to get my morning shifts, I had to accept morning shifts on Sundays.
So what now?
In order for me to get the shift that I wanted at work, I had to agree to work Sunday mornings. And so I have been out on Sunday mornings.
So you're going to be working on Sunday mornings now?
Oh, I've been working on Sunday mornings.
But why you not at work now?
Because there's been a change in leadership.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
So you go back to your old shift?
Yes.
Oh, good. So you'll be here on Sundays.
Yes.
And how have you been?
I've been good. If there's such thing as good. I've been paying attention to myself.
You've been what?
Paying attention to myself.
Nice.
I know that's the quintessential answer, but no, it's true. There's so much you don't really know until you know. And what I'm learning, the difference, I'm finding a difference, and maybe there isn't one, but I'm finding there's a difference in believing something and knowing something.
Yeah.
And that's as far as I can go.
People who believe things are lost.
Well, I came in here believing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And you challenged it, and I was not very happy, and it made me even more confused and even more upset. And especially when we talked about being nothing. But I think that the more that you know, or the more that you get to a place where you know something, that doesn't take up a lot of space. It doesn't have to be anywhere. Right. Knowing something doesn't have to be placed anywhere.
Right. That's deep.
So there's it's not that it's empty, but it's not that it's full either. It's just, it exists. So that's where I'm at. So it's actually been a great experience to kind of lean on my own abilities instead of, being so confused.
Yes. Right on.
Yeah.
You make a good point. I remember in other churches we were taught to believe in God, to believe this and believe that, and that gets you nowhere. It's just intellectual. God wants us to know Him, not to just believe, not to believe in Him, but to know Him. He said, "My children shall know me," and most people believe about Him, and that's all they get is believing about God. They're still miserable. They're angry. They're lost, they're insecure, they're jealous and envy and all kinds of things. Right on. I thought maybe you had gone off to college or something. I heard that Joe Biden was giving away free college, so I thought you may have. I was like, maybe you went to college. Amazing. Well, good. And how have you been? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Working on, I guess as people say here, working on myself and trying to get right and figure things out, and that's about it. We just took a nice trip and cleared my head a little bit.
Does your wife obey you now?
Well, I mean, we're working on our relationship and our communication, so I would
Does
say
she
that.
obey you?
Well, not always.
Wow. What is that like, married to a woman that won't obey you?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily want her to obey me like a.
Oh, you don't?
Like a master type of relationship.
You don't want her to obey you?
Well, no, not necessarily.
But she wants to obey you.
Does she want to?
She does
Yes,
want
she
to.
does. Yeah, she does. Absolutely.
But you don't want her to.
Well, I mean, when you think of the word obey, that means like follow without question, listen to commands, and I
What
guess
the-
that's what we're working
Where you
through.
get all that from?
Well, I didn't the dictionary.
So you have a wife that want to obey you, but you don't want her. Why don't you divorce him? You don't want your wife want to be able to obey you, but you don't want her to.
Well, I think. Well, I don't know if she truly wants to, but
But you know that you truly don't want her to.
well, I mean, I guess like how are you defining obey?
O, B, A. What's the
Oh,
other
that's how
word?
you spell. That's a spelling. That's
O B A Y.
O-B-E-Y.
O B E.
Uh-huh.
I'm black.
Okay, and wait, was there a question?
You asked me to define it, and I did.
Well, you spelled it.
Right. Halfway spelled it.
Okay.
I never. So this is interesting. She wants to obey you, but you don't want her to obey you.
Well,
And yet she still you. And you don't believe she want to obey you all the time, right?
well, no, maybe not. Maybe not all the time. But
Do you
no,
want
I think
her to
she's
obey you all the time?
okay. No, well, no. Let me backtrack a little bit. So. Now, okay, I think like we talked about last time, she's really, she's the one who wanted us to come here and kind of get into this type of way of thinking and stuff. And I was really closed off to it, and I really took a lot of issue with some of the ways that you go about things. And I'm trying to be maybe a little bit more open-minded to it. And then I think I'm just trying to not be defensive about a lot of the things that you all kind of believe, and it's good, and it's been a good process. I think I am trying to be a little more assertive, and because there are things where it's like I do have an idea of how we should do things, and maybe just being a little more confident in that. And like you say, she does want to listen to me. I don't know if I would use the word obey, but yeah, she does want to listen to me, and I want to listen to her in some ways. And yeah, so we're working on ourselves individually and on our relationship.
Why don't you like the word obey?
Well, I guess because I associate it with like a command, with it being like a master-servant relationship, or it
But
being
you
like
are her master.
or like a
You don't wanna be her
a
master?
parent-child relationship.
You don't want to be her master?
Well, no, I don't want to be her master. No,
Oh, you don't?
no, I don't.
And what is she supposed to do if you don't want to be it?
What is she supposed to do if I don't want to be her master?
Yes.
You're asking?
Right.
What is she supposed to do? Well, I guess compromise and
Just suffer?
yeah, I guess. Well, to a certain extent, yeah.
Oh, you just want her to go suffer because you're not going to be a master?
Well, no, I don't want her to suffer, and I don't want to suffer. I don't want anyone to suffer.
I'm sorry?
I don't want anyone to suffer
Why not?
because suffering is. Well, okay, no, I take it back. Yeah, sometimes people need to suffer in order to work through things and then
Yeah.
have something better at the end of it. Yeah.
Right.
So you're right. Yeah, I caught myself there. Yeah.
Nice. So what is it like knowing that your husband don't want you to obey him? You can take the mic. Oh, you ever have? Oh, okay.
Difficult.
It's difficult? In what way?
Because I'll fall back on,
Yep.
and I'll start listening to the devil.
Yep. What do you think about that?
Wait, so we're saying that if if she doesn't obey me, then she's gonna fall back and listen to the devil.
Right.
Is that right?
Because she need her husband. Well, I'm gonna tell her how to do it without falling back in a minute. But she need her husband. You are created to be the head of your wife and your family, and you're refusing to do it because you listen to the world, and the world use the word obey in a negative way, and you apply that to your own life, and you're causing your family to suffer because you're following in the way of the world. Because the sons of God, obey is not a negative thing.
Okay, well then maybe there could be something to that, and we're just, it's just a matter of words being used differently and having different connotations and whatnot.
I'm sorry?
I said maybe it's just a matter of words being used differently.
So what do you think?
But I do want to take on, a stronger leadership role. Maybe
Right.
we could put it that way.
And why don't you do it?
Well, I'm trying to.
Oh, I didn't mean to laugh so hard. What's difficult about it?
Well, I guess not wanting to push too hard on certain specific issues.
But she want you to.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Well, because I could. Well, look, maybe if we give a specific example, and then you can help us see how to approach it.
Give me an example of something you want him to be strong with.
Yes and no.
Oh, it doesn't get any better than that.
Wait, what do you? I don't understand. Yes and what do you mean? Yes and no.
You don't know what yes? Are you from Iran? You don't know what yes and no mean?
No, but I mean we said we're gonna give an example of an issue, and then she
A
said
yes
yes
and
or no.
When you just say no, say no. When you need to say yes.
Okay, well, I mean, I understand, but then at the same time, it's like sometimes, you don't want to just give a command and have somebody listen to you. You
don't want to?
Well, I'm not.
That's your job to do that, man.
Well, okay, so again, like here.
And she's telling you, I want it.
Okay, but I don't think she really does.
So what?
I mean, she could say that, but then when it comes to like day-to-day life, I don't know if that's actually the case in reality.
And why is that?
Well, because I could express something that I think would be good for us, for our family, for our day-to-day life, and
Right.
then, we might talk about it and discuss how it could benefit us, and then the next day, we fall back into the same patterns.
Like what?
Okay, well, look, for just off the top of my head, I'm not saying this is like the main issue in our marriage, but say,
Yes, you
for
are.
example, like phone use, YouTube, specifically YouTube use,
Right.
Well, I think that she spends too much time on YouTube, and it makes the mind really negative and cynical and unfocused, and I don't think that's good for us, and it creates some conflict and some just energy that I don't think
Right.
is good. So I've said, hey, here's why I think it would be a good idea to spend less time on YouTube and less time on the phone in general.
Right.
I've taken some steps to do that. I got rid of my smartphone and have a little flip phone now. I've told her, hey, I think this has been good for my mind. I feel more clear. You still have your technology that you need, but it kind of just eliminates some of the noise and everything.
Right.
And I think this has been good for you, and I think you should consider doing that. But I'm not gonna say I command that you get rid of your smartphone and stop going on YouTube. I command it.
Why not?
Like that's just not. I don't think that's
Why
the right
not?
way to go
How
about it.
how else would she stop if you don't command it?
Well, maybe just think about how it's harmful, and then think about how to eliminate an addiction, and then decide, for herself that that's a good thing.
Has he told you that about the YouTube and all that?
Yes.
And that's just an example. I'm not saying that's like, oh, the worst issue in our marriage or something.
You don't
but-
need, I understand that. Don't be a beta. Hey! Nah. And why have you stopped?
Because I converse with the thoughts in my head, and
So what now?
I converse with the thoughts in my head, and I just getting lost in the sauce.
And what does he need to do to solve the problem with the YouTube thing?
Well, there's nothing he needs to do. I think it's more like me just accepting that and stop trying to go find information from other people, because he's giving me something and I'm expecting more out of that, and that's me just being ungrateful of what he's kind of telling me, and it's.
But if you want him to be right, why don't you be right?
That's what I'm struggling with, which is.
You struggle with trying to be right?
Yeah, because I'm always trying to either be right or or become right, but instead of just doing or just existing in that, okay, just stop trying to fight the truth, and because I want him to say it a certain way, and which is wrong because he says it, and then I want it to look a certain way, and it's not right for me to do.
You have kids?
No.
Oh, okay, good. So you don't want them to be doing the same thing.
Correct.
So he tell you the right thing to do, but you won't do it.
I'll do it sometimes. I'm inconsistent. I'll do it sometimes, and sometimes I'll fight him a bit about it, because I'll rant on, and because I'm always trying to prove my intelligence, because I'm just so insecure of just want to be a know-it-all. And
You're so insecure?
correct.
And why are you so insecure?
Because I'm just lost in my thoughts, thinking that the devil is right, and because he's telling me, no, it's supposed to be like this, and instead of just trusting what God said, and how the leadership goes.
So why do you keep trusting evil? See, and you know that that's what you're doing. Why do you keep worshiping the devil? Because he can't make you stop worshiping the devil.
Correct.
Why do you keep doing it?
Because I'm still relying on my own strength and intelligence.
Are you doing the silent prayer?
I do, and I'm kind of doing it like for 4 minutes each day, and I'll even lay down, and I'm like, oh, I'm still doing it. If I fall asleep after, it's cool, because I at least. And so I'm just I'm playing with it.
Yeah, you are. You're not ready to truly overcome your hell?
Yeah, yes.
But you're not. If you were ready to overcome your hell, you would.
Mm-hmm.
He can't make you overcome your hell. Only God can cause that to happen when you're ready to overcome your hell.
Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to see that I lie a lot.
You lie a lot?
I'm lying. I put up a front. I'm a poser. I don't want to be a poser.
What's a poser?
Poser, someone who's posing something that they're actually not.
Oh, I see.
Like a mannequin almost.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you know she was this crazy before you married her?
Yeah, pretty much.
You knew she was this crazy before you married her?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And you still married her?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because I love her, and we all have qualities that we need to work. I was crazy. I mean, I was, and I think I'm still crazy, and she still married me.
Two crazy people together.
Well, yeah.
That's normal. All married couples are crazy. And that's why they fight with one another, because they're crazy. And they get together so that they can fight. Isn't that amazing? That's why no married couples are happy. The kids are mad, the mothers are mad, the fathers giving up, they're mad. It just all, and then the same thing start with the next generation. More anger, and they have babies, and they screw up those babies, and it just go on and on and on. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's the way it is. I don't know what you want, because you love your hell. If you didn't love your hell, you would be doing the silent prayer, you would watch those thoughts, you would say no to those things, to the devil. And again, he can't do anything about that. No one, not one human being can save another human being from their misery. And most human beings love their misery. They'd rather be angry and unhappy than to be at peace, than to be happy.
I'm truly starting to see that, like, glory be to God, that the reflection, I'm like, wow, I need to make that decision and stop playing with it, and either I'm in or I'm out, you know?
Right.
And I want to, no, it's not even I'm in, and it's like, why do I even pull myself back out? Once I'm in, and I just, you know, and regardless of him or anyone else, it's, you know, I want, because that is being right, and, you know,
Yeah.
that's why I even stopped even listening to you at certain times, like just on the videos, because it's like you already said something. So, and even the last time I came here, you weren't trying to play with me, and then when I walked away, and I was confused, but I'm already confused, and it's just like, it already is. There's nothing else more to explain.
Yeah.
It's
Amazing. Well, we're going to help you. What do you think about what you just heard from your wife?
Well, yeah, and I will say too that I think things are getting better. You know, they're not getting worse. They are gradually, slowly getting better, but then with some backtracking.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we're heading in a good direction.
Right on.
Like I say, we just had this trip, and it was just great communication, really just focusing on things, like not so much of these discussions and everything, but just being present a little bit more, a little bit better. But
Nice.
so I'll say, you know, she is putting the work in. I think I'm putting the work in, so we're getting there.
So you're working on yourself as well?
Yeah,
Good.
Independent of our relationship too,
Nice.
just myself too. Cause
Right on.
like I say, I had issues before I met her. I can't blame my issues on her. So
No, you were already screwed up when she
yes,
met you.
yeah, very much so.
And she was already screwed up when you met her.
Absolutely.
And two screwed up people got together.
That's right. Yeah.
Every human being, all couples are like that. They're already screwed
And for
up.
a while, I think like the first 10 years, I think it was like two messed up people making each other even worse.
Yes.
And then now, though, we're fine. After 10 years, we're finally getting to something better, I think.
Right on.
I hope, I think.
Well, just relax. She'll get better in the next 50 years. And then you'll die.
Hey, well.
But I'm going to tell you what to do about that. All
Thank
right?
you.
Okay. Amazing. So what do you think about what you hear right now?
You guys, I don't think you want to know.
No, I want to know.
Okay.
How old are you? 20?
20.
Okay.
I'm very happy that you're like, command? What do you mean command? Like that doesn't sound quite right. I think that these are two autonomous individuals. You know what I mean?
Too retarded?
Autonomous.
What?
Autonomous.
Oh, autonomous. Oh, I thought you said too retarded. I'm like, you're right.
Well, yeah. That too. But I think that all the wrong things are being thought about too deeply. And then we're like, I want to be right. What does right mean? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but I personally, like, I don't really resonate with all of this alpha male stuff. I'm kind of the opposite. I think that, not even that it's toxic, it's just stupid. It's wrong, you know?
Alpha male is toxic?
No, not that. It's just stupid
What
to
is?
me. I just think that to be like, I'm an alpha, you know, like, it kind of makes you seem like you're not, you know, when you say that. Like, and I just, personally, in my experience, I'm a lot more of a developed intellectual individual than a lot of the males that I speak with. So to me, that whole like, oh, you're in charge, no, that doesn't really make sense. But I think that in terms of like their marriage, it should like what are you're arguing because like, so you want her to be off YouTube, right?
Well, as an example.
Okay. But why is that like a big deal? Like, why does it, like, okay, you know?
Well, okay, yeah, well, that's a good question. And now, well, because it's an addiction, you know, it really is. Maybe some people, you know, may be different for every person. Maybe somebody could watch a video and just, hey, I learned something new, or I saw something funny, or I saw a news clip. You know, it's just like any other tool. It's just a tool. Could be neither good nor bad, but you could get addicted to it. That's
Totally true.
That's just data. You know, it's addicting. It's an addiction. That's why, you know, rich people don't let their kids go on YouTube because, well, I mean, like, you know, really.
I think kind of the opposite. Rich people kind of.
Well, when I say rich people, I mean like the Mark Zuckerberg's kid is not like on social media all day, but.
Let me
just
ask you
anyway,
this.
I digress.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, okay, so like take her out to lunch. Like, and then just,
Take her out
like,
to
if
lunch.
she's- Yeah, like, and if she's on her phone,
That
like, be
costs
like,
more
hey,
money.
like, it hurts my feelings if you're
Yeah,
on your
yeah.
phone.
No, okay, but let me hold on. I think it's a little different than I think that you might be picturing. So it's not that, you know, if we're out to lunch, yeah, she's not sitting at the table on her phone.
That's great.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. We have this trip, like I said, we went on, we have a great time. It's not like, because that would just be kind of rude. It's not a matter of her being rude. She's very polite and considerate. If we're like on a date or going for a walk at the beach or something, no, it's not like that. It's more like, you know, when we're at home and we're taking some time to ourselves, which is
just buy her,
totally,
like, a puzzle.
yeah, totally fine. Yeah, it's sort of like that, and which it sounds fine. You know, it sounds fine, but what happens is that, you know, she's watching these videos that are, you know, could be very thought-provoking, not a bad thing either, but
She's like a
just gets
nutcase
her
on
really,
the
like,
video.
tense.
it gets her, yes,
Let me do this
it
because
gets
of
her
time.
really tense, really
Let me do
worked
this.
up.
She's a nutcase on the video. She can't help it.
Yeah, my mom's kind of the same. It's like one Twitter thing after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other.
Really?
And it's, yes,
And how
always
do-
on the live streams. And it's like, you're not, like, at this point, what are you really learning? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that totally, it's, at that point, it's kind of also just like suffocating yourself with like politics. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
never a good thing.
So how do you deal with your mother when she's doing that?
Well, unfortunately, she thinks like I'm educating myself, like yada yada yada, and so there's not really much leeway. So I kind of just am like, peace out, I'll see you later.
You what?
I just like if it's too much for me, like, you know, there's oftentimes she's willing to put it away and we can hang out, and so that's super great. But if she really wants to listen, then we just kind of go our separate ways and coexist
see.
separately.
Wow.
Which, yeah, I mean,
What
but
a
also
nutcase,
she's my
another
mother.
nut.
She's an adult. You know.
Wow. And when you tell your father to tell her to get off the thing, take a break, how does he
They're
do?
not together. But again, I kind of just like, I mean, we tell her, but again, she's her own individual. She's gonna do whatever she wants, right or wrong.
Even if your father was to call up and say, hey, you're irritating my daughter, you need your attention, get off the thing, would she get off then?
I mean, like I said, she gets off like when we're together. But like, for example, she took me here today for Mother's Day. She knew it would make me upset. Like, she did it anyways. So.
And how did she know it would make you upset?
I think I'm very like, you know, clear and stark on my views. So.
Oh, I see. And are you upset?
Yeah, honestly, it is a little. I frustrate easily, but it frustrates me to hear your conversation with him and just be like, you should command her to do this, and you know, like it annoys me. Yeah.
And why does it bother you? Because it's not happening to you, it's happening to them. It has nothing to do with you.
I guess just because,
why
like,
are you bothered by it?
You're informing all of these people, and like all of these people came, and I guess it also makes me sad, but yeah, it just makes me mad
But
that like
you're an
this
individual, right?
narrative is being perpetuated, and like it's influencing their lives, and like so many, like the fact that like women are here too, I don't know. It's
But why?
frustrating.
But you're not every woman, are you?
Well, I mean, for example, I want to be an environmental lawyer. Like, I care about society as a whole, not just myself.
Right. But you're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be bothered about what someone else think or believe, right?
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true. Like,
You
if
think
if
you should be bothered about what
if
someone
you
else-
yelled at him and were like, you're weird and I hate you and you know whatever, I'd be like, oh, that upsets me. Like, that's not nice.
Really? You should have been here last Sunday. I did.
I think that
But
it's
not
like,
normal to be bothered by someone else's issue.
well, it's
Is
not
that-
like the issue. It's more that it's not like their individual issue. It's the fact that this issue applies to basically like everyone in the room, everyone watching the stream. Like it's a larger issue that is like prevalent in media. So it's more just like seeing it play out in real time, this larger issue.
But still, you are an individual. You're not every person. You are you. How will you live your life if you can be bothered about someone else's life, period?
I don't,
How will you
surround
be
myself
free?
with people that bother me.
I'm sorry?
I don't surround myself with people that bother me. Like willingly, I wouldn't be here, and so I wouldn't be bothered. But I also think that I think that it's healthy to like every so often, be in life and come across something and be like, that's not right. I don't stand for that, and it frustrates me a little bit that others do. You know what I mean?
Amazing. And that's interesting. Who are you closer to, your father or your mother?
My mother.
You're closer to your mother than your father? Why is that?
She's around more, and she's a lot younger. Like she's closer in age than to me than my father is by a lot. She was nicer.
She's nicer? Your mother's nicer?
I know. I know. Tough deal.
Who would you prefer to be closest to, your father or your mother?
My mother.
And not your father?
I mean, he's like 65.
Your father's 65 years old? Nice. Who would you prefer to be? I mean, so you prefer to be close to your mother because you're kind of similar in age, he's younger, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like we can, go to a comedy show together like we did last night, for example.
Right, I understand that part. And so do you miss your father?
More the idea of him, but he's pretty difficult to be around, so no. But
He's difficult to be around?
yeah, that's fine.
But you love the idea of being with him, but he's difficult to be around? Mm-hmm. And do you love him?
Sure.
Have you told him that?
Yeah.
Have you forgiven him for being difficult?
No,
Why not?
because it's caused me a lot of problems in
If
my
you
life.
were to forgive him, it would cause a lot of problems?
No, he's just like the way that he was as a parent just like has long-lasting effects that have damaged me now. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, great, thanks.
Oh, so he's already damaged you with some things. And you
Well,
can't-
not like damaged, but like, yes, certain setbacks.
Have you talked to him about that?
There's some narcissistic tendencies, so it's kind of hard for him to grasp reality sometimes. And when he hears certain things, he only like can attach to certain things, if that makes sense. He doesn't,
Oh, so he doesn't understand why you're narcissistic?
No.
I thought
He's a
you-
bit narcissistic,
I'm
and
sorry?
so he has
Oh,
a
I
bit
thought
of
you said
narcissism.
you're kind of narcissistic, and he
No.
doesn't know how to deal with that. No? And are you narcissistic?
I wouldn't say so. No,
Would he say so?
no, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So what is it like not being able to communicate with him?
It's sad, but there are bigger problems that I could have. So
If there was a way to communicate with him and not be bothered about how he acts or how narcissistic he is, would you do it?
well, it's also he says things directly to me that are like mean. So it's like,
That mean?
yeah,
Did
to
you
a
say
certain.
that a mean?
Yeah, and he can just be very controlling, whatever. Like it's not like I'm frustrated with how he is as a person. It's like he can be like a shitty parent, and so I'm like, oh, but it's.
Do you want to be able to communicate in spite of all that?
We're working on that. Yeah, I think
So
that
you
it's
do
improved.
want to do that? I'm going to tell you what to do, and I want you to give it a try. And if you never come back here, call me and tell me on the show or something.
Okay.
All right? If I tell you what to do, will you do it?
Yeah.
All right. And you're going to have perfect peace if you should do it. All right? You got to forgive him. He cannot help himself.
It's true. Yeah, my mom always says, like, you can't go to a bar and ask the bartender for some milk. He's going to be like, I don't have milk. And you're going to be like, what do you mean? But you
So I
can't.
want you to show him love by going to him and say, Dad, I'm sorry for being angry at you. I'm sorry for holding on to the things that you did to me. I realize now you couldn't help yourself. And forgive him, and your whole world will change. And it wouldn't matter how he is, you will be free.
Right.
Will you give that a try?
I will, yeah.
And don't have any expectation. Don't expect him to say, I'm sorry or not sorry. Don't expect anything, and I promise you your whole world will change. Will you give that a try?
I will.
Will you let me know how it goes?
I will.
Aren't you glad you came now?
Yes.
See there? Amazing, yeah. Forgive him. You have to forgive him so that you could be free. Because he's doing the best he could. His mother screwed him up. You know what I mean? His father wasn't there for him. And so the way he treated you, he just didn't know how to do it any differently.
Absolutely.
And he loved you, he just didn't know how to deal with it. And he definitely doesn't know how to deal with your mother. Have you noticed that? Your mother's not an easy person to deal with. Have you noticed it?
You guys have met before, right? No?
No,
Interesting.
but yet I know her, right?
Yeah.
She's not easy.
I mean, neither of them are,
Right, but especially your mother. So you got to forgive your mother too. She cannot help herself. Her mother screwed her up.
Yeah.
And she wants to be different with you, and she's trying to, but she doesn't know quite how to do it. So you got to apologize for resenting her too, so you will be free and you won't do the same thing to your kids should you have kids. That make sense? So forgive your mother. She can't help it, she's crazy. But she loves you. They're doing the best they could. Are you surprised to know that you become so much like your mother?
I think that the way that I'm like my mother is that we're both really emotional. But no offense, I don't really think I'm
No.
that much like her.
So what now?
I don't really think that I'm that much like her.
You just, both of you more emotional?
Yeah.
Emotional? And what else that you are in being like her?
Outgoing, extroverted.
And you don't want to be like your mother. You want to be you. You don't want to be like your mother, right?
In certain aspects, certainly.
But you don't want to be emotional and all that other stuff, right?
I mean, I don't want to be as emotional as I am, but I think that overall I'm grateful for it because it's made me very empathetic. And I've noticed that a lot of people my age are just like apathetic. So
Because they're so unhappy, they're just like their mothers. And they don't want to be, so they're all unhappy. They want to be free. They want to be themselves. And I'm telling you how to do it. You should not be that emotional. That's your mother's identity, not yours. Am I right?
to a certain extent, yeah.
Forgive her. So that you become like what you're angry at. If you're angry at your mother, you're going to become like your mother, and you're going to be miserable. But if you're not angry, speak up, but don't be angry, you're going to be you. And your mother will be herself, but you won't be all like your mother, emotional. So you got to forgive your parents.
Yeah, that's true.
And forgiveness says, I'm sorry for being angry at you. I realize now that you could not help yourself. And I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. Give it a good try with both, all right? So that you don't wake up one morning, you just like your mother. And then here you are married some 70-year-old man. And you wonder, how did I get here? You become like what you're angry at. You don't want to be angry. You want to speak up, but you don't want to be angry. So you got to forgive your mother. All right? That make sense?
Yeah,
All right. Let me know how it goes.
I will.
Any question about that?
No.
Do you disagree with that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, you want to be, no matter what you do in life, you want to have peace. You want to be you and not someone else. You're not supposed to be like your parents. You're supposed to be you. All right? Amazing. So now you like me better, huh?
Yeah,
Isn't that something?
it is something, yeah.
Right on. What do you have to say about all this? Take the mic behind you.
Oh, thank you, sir. I just was really enjoying the conversation, and I'm feeling great gratitude right now and appreciation.
Are you working on yourself?
All the time. It's a full-time job.
You forgiving your parents and all that?
Yes.
You told them?
Yes, absolutely.
How did it go?
Well, I told my mother. I haven't
Oh, you did?
told my
How did it go when you went to your mother?
beautiful, it definitely made a change. It definitely works when you kind of release that. It's like a
You
burden off
gotta
your
let
shoulders.
the anger go.
Absolutely.
It's not good, it's evil.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, continue to work on yourself. Have you forgiven your father too?
Sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't really have any anger or resentment towards them.
Yeah, most people don't resent the father. They yearn for the father. They would like to have a relationship with their father, so they're like yearning for the father. The anger most of the time comes from the mother.
Right. I made peace with not having my father around.
Right.
And it's like what you don't know, you don't miss.
Yeah.
So I think in many ways it's better that way than to have an abusive father who's around all the time, but is
you
damaging.
have forgiven him, right?
Yes, of course.
And you
a
told
long
him.
time ago, but he's like non-existent for me now. So
Oh, yeah?
it's like he doesn't exist.
And that's the way you want it?
Yeah.
So did you tell him you're sorry for resenting him?
No, I haven't seen or talked to him forever. He's in a
And
different
why don't
country.
you see him and talk to him? It doesn't mean you got to hang out with him, but you need to forgive him so that
Well, I have in me. I've forgiven him in my heart and in my mind. I don't really
But
need
why
to.
not tell him? God said that we should go and apologize to the person we resent.
It's not like you have his number, right? He left when she was young, so it's.
Oh, you don't even know how to
wouldn't
get him or anything?
Right, yeah.
Oh, I see.
So for me, he's like dead.
Oh, man.
He died, yeah. And I've made peace with that. And it's fine. I don't have
So
daddy
there's no
issues.
part of you that would at least like to see him or get to know him a little
No,
bit?
nothing. It's all gone, I have my father, my real father, so.
Amazing. Well, don't you end up that way. You forgive your father. All right. All right. Amazing. Any other questions or anything? Okay. Any questions about anything? Have you forgiven your mother?
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry?
Not yet.
Why not?
I think I've just listened to the thoughts, and I'm almost there, just haven't really done it.
When you say you're almost there, you tip it up on her Why not just do it so you could be free?
Right.
No, that was a question.
Just haven't done it. Like I'm getting there when I'm in the silence. I just haven't done the action.
And why not? Are you in college?
Mm-hmm.
You in college?
Yeah.
And so why haven't you done it? Are you an alpha male or beta?
Myself.
Why didn't you ask me that question?
What?
Why didn't you ask me that question?
I'm asking him. You said, why should I ask you? Okay, I'll get to you in a minute. But what is it that you know? The sooner you do it, the freer you become, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna finally become your own man, your own individual. You'll be able to think for yourself and speak up and just have a life. Why have you just done it? What is holding you back?
I think it might, maybe there's an aspect of fear of that life.
That's what it is. You're afraid of it.
Yeah, of that, maybe of the, more of that freedom.
Or you're afraid of facing the freedom, or you're afraid of facing your mother?
I would say fear of actually getting to that freedom in life, probably more so than forgiving them. We've had like a lot of conversations that are similar, but just not direct in the forgiveness.
And why are you afraid of for freedom of forgiveness rather than the hell you're already living in? Because you're not happy living the way you're living.
Right.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'd say.
So why you love your hell?
My actions reflect that. Yeah, I guess.
So you don't want to be free?
I think I do, but the way it just hasn't, the power of that I hasn't overcome yet to do
But
it.
you're never going to overcome it until you do
And
it.
so I just do it, right.
Right. You can think about doing it, it's not going to work.
Yep.
You can tiptoe around it, it's not going to work.
Right.
It's only going to work when you face your mother and forgive her. You're shaking your boots, you're going to be afraid, you don't know how she's going to react to it, but you'll walk away free.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it. It's not. You got to face the fear.
Yeah. I'm going to do it.
You going to do it?
Yeah, yeah.
When?
Well, yeah, she's not. Yeah. I'm out of town from where she is today.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't want to do it face to face when I get back. Yeah.
Will you get back?
Mm-hmm.
When will you get back?
Later next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got to face her.
Yeah.
And how about your father? Are you close to your father?
Yeah. Yeah.
So does he know you're afraid of your mother?
No.
How are you going to be
Yeah.
an alpha male if you're afraid of your mother? You're going to be afraid of all girls.
Right. I don't think. Yeah. I mean, that's how it. I think my thoughts have convinced me that I'm not afraid because of other conversations we've had and ways I've expressed clear beliefs or clear knowledge I have about things. And they'll say, oh, well, yeah, like you're not afraid because you've had those conversations on those other topics.
Right.
But that's just a lie that
Right,
I'm
because
avoiding actually
the
doing
real
the thing.
conversation is, mother, I'm sorry for resenting you.
Yeah, and there's a lot probably to say to her about all that. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Do it, man, so you can be free.
yep.
All right? How about you? Have you forgiven her?
I did a couple years ago, but I think it might have just been more intellectual in a way because I definitely fell back into a lot of fear and resentment
Yeah.
in other areas.
Yeah.
So I think I do have to come back to that from a newfound perspective.
Yeah.
I would say.
So will you face her again?
Will I? Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Man, how things with you and your father?
I have a pretty close relationship with my father.
So when you ask him why didn't he protect you from your mother, what did he say?
I didn't specifically ask him that.
Why
but
not?
I should.
But
I
why
think
haven't you-
in a lot of ways, I think he wasn't able to be that strong leader in the relationship and was kind of holding on to the idea of how things should be, which in reality led them to kind of just fall apart.
Yeah, 100%. Well, both of you need to forgive your father too. He couldn't help it. He did the best he could do as well. But you gotta, you already know this, but if you want to be free, you gotta forgive. And you can forgive your mother and father first, and the rest will become easy. The rest of the world will be easy would be no problem. Because once you forgive, you no longer have anger, and you'll be able to deal with everybody, no matter who they are, in the right way. Isn't it amazing?
I have a question, because I've heard you talk about how like anger and fear are really closely related.
Yes.
And I've heard before too, like I almost see it in myself, like I'm almost afraid to be angry, because like I don't know what that'll look like.
But you're already angry, that's why you have the fear. Mm-hmm. You can't have the fear without the anger, or the anger without the fear. It's the same. If you let the anger go, the fear will disappear. You let the fear go, the anger will disappear. Yeah. It's the same.
Yeah, like I noticed in myself, like I used to be, the anger used to take more control over me, and now it's kind of like flipped more so to the fear.
Yeah.
In myself.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know exactly why, but that's just what I've observed.
Once you deal with your mother and father the right way, forgive them, the anger and the fear will disappear. Both will, if you just have the fear, but you can't have, you have both, you just don't realize. But you let one of them go, both will have to disappear as well. And then you would no longer have that fear, but you're going to notice all these different thoughts that come to your mind about crazy stuff. And now that you won't be one with the thoughts, you'll be free from them, and you'll overcome all things. It'll be taken away from you. God will take all thoughts, except practical thoughts. All emotions will be taken away from you, and you'll be free. Because you can't have the thought, you can't have the emotion unless you have the thoughts. You get the thoughts, you get the emotion. Or the emotion that says, oh, I feel good. As soon as you're feeling good, you get another thought that says, oh, I feel bad, I'm scared, I'm this, I'm that, right? And then after a while, you want to jump off a bridge. But if you when you overcome the fear by forgiving, all that stuff will disappear too.
And then another question I would have is like, in that, because I guess I struggle with like forgiving myself for certain things, or within myself, like where does that come into play with like the self-judgment?
Right. And who is the self that you need to forgive?
I mean, I guess I've come to realize like with certain situations or like thoughts, like it wasn't me necessarily, like I didn't know better at the time. It was certain fears or emotions in me that led me to be unconscious in certain moments, I guess.
But you said you resent yourself, you judge yourself or something like that?
Yeah, I've struggled with self-judgment.
Who is self? Who are you?
I guess I'm trying to figure that out.
So how do you know there is a self that you need to forgive if you can't figure out who that is?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
There is no self, and there is no one to forgive. This is self that you think is an illusion. It's all in your mind. It's not real. There is no you. And this idea that you got to forgive is straight out of hell. It's a setup to control you, to make you think there's someone there to forgive. There's no one there to forgive. It's been all in your imagination the whole time. It's not real. There is no you. That's why you can't figure out who it is, because there is no you. It's all in your mind. It's a lie. So there's no one there to judge or not to judge. There's no you. What do you think about that?
I mean, that makes sense in a way. Like, as humans, we're neither good or bad.
Right. You have never done anything in your whole life wrong. You've never done anything wrong, nor have you ever done anything right. In your whole life, you can't do anything wrong or right if you try.
Is that what you mean when you say there is the
Hold on 1 minute.
It's actually great because it reminds me, I had a question for you. I saw one of the clips when you say there is a real you and there is a fake you. that when you do bad things, it's I don't know if you could elaborate more on that, because I really
okay.
want to understand what you mean when
Have
you
you
say
ever
that.
done anything wrong?
Of course.
Give me one small thing that you've done wrong. Something that's not all public, but other than to drive your daughter mad on the internet.
Well, I mean, I brought her here, even.
No, that's the best. That's the best thing that could happen to you, right?
I know, right?
You agree with me, right?
I think that overall it was a positive experience.
What?
Overall, it was a positive experience.
See, that's so it's the best thing.
Right.
Right on.
No, I followed my intuition, and I knew it's
Other
kind
than
of.
that, give me something that you've done wrong.
What I've done. Oh my God, there's so many things.
Well, just name one.
Like I can overanalyze situations, and make an assumption in my head, and it's just
Right.
not even the
So
case.
you can overthink, overanalyze, and all of that. And why do you do that? Is there a problem with the mic?
I think he tapped the mic against the chair, so it's made it thump.
Oh, okay. And why do you do that?
I don't know. I always thought because I'm a mental person, I think of details. I usually also think a lot of other people as well, of their feelings.
And do you want to think that way all the time in your head and in
No,
your mind?
because sometimes I overly complicate things, and I
Right,
just stress
absolutely.
myself out.
And so you don't want to do that, right?
No,
So why do you think it's you?
I don't know.
Let's say that it's you. Why don't you stop yourself from thinking that way?
I'm working on that, and I do that as soon as
But it doesn't
I catch
work.
myself doing it. I tell myself, "You're overthinking it. Just drop it," or I
But
say some positive
Is it
affirmations.
possible that it's not you that doing the overthinking? Something else is doing it?
Oh, I see where you're going with this. I'd never thought of it that way, actually.
Just think about this. You're doing this overthinking stuff and you don't want to, right?
Right.
So is it possible it's not you, but something else is causing you to do it? Because if you don't want to do it, you should be able to just stop doing it. Am I right? So is it possible that something else is doing it, but it's not you?
Like, what could it be if it's not me?
Right. I want to do the possibility first. Is it possible that something else is causing you to do this and you don't want to do it, but something else is making you do it?
Maybe like the little child in me, or the scared person in me, or the insecure side of me? No?
It's the devil in you,
Oh, God.
in your imagination. When you became angry, you escaped it, and you too, all people, you escaped into your imagination, and it's been controlling you all your life, and it makes you think and do things that you don't want to. And you even say, I'm never going to do that again. I can't believe I did that. And you end up doing it again because you're not in control. Something else is controlling you. You listen to thoughts and emotions, and that's those things, that's your enemy. It's not you at all.
So how do I get rid of the devil in me? That sounds terrifying.
Right. And I totally understand that every human being has the devil in them, and it's horrifying to have to get rid of the devil. How do I do that? I'm going to tell you in a minute. All right? So hold that thought.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Does that help your situation? And then I'll tell you right here. Does that help you?
Yeah, I think so. I think with me, it's like I'm so, like, because that imagination is so strong, like I'm so in touch with that. Like it's hard to, I notice myself just pulled into that all the time, and I'm like, whoa. Then I snap out of it for a second, like come back to the present, but I just got to keep growing in that.
You got to keep going in and out until you don't have to go into it anymore. It will be taken away from you.
Yeah.
And just don't be frustrated or anything. And don't let the devil tell you, oh, it's not working. It is working. The fact that you're aware of it a little bit being aware of it is causing you to overcome it. And it will be taken away from you, and you will be 100% free. No matter what situation come in your life, you would not be bothered by it at all. You just deal with it. You overcome all things. But just stay with it, stay working on it. And don't call it you. Stop calling it you. It's not you.
That's definitely something I struggle with. It's like, it's just so, I guess it's so much a part of me that I'll slip up and be like, think it's part of me.
Right.
In a sense where I'm going to those like imaginary thought places where
Yep.
I'm not really present in my own body.
That's
almost.
right. Well, just stay with it. You'll be fine. But you got to stay with it no matter what. If the whole world turn against you, you stay with it. If your family, friends, nobody want to play with you anymore, you stay with it. You will become free. Because it's not you. There is no self. You have never done anything wrong. God has never judged you for anything. It's those spirits that's in the imagination that make you do the thing that you do, and then it judge you for it. Oh, I thought you were so nice. You just stole the water bottle. You just slapped that girl. You know, it makes you do it, and then it accuse you. It has nothing to do with God or you. You've never done anything wrong. What do you think about that?
I think there's no other way to really explain it other than that.
Yeah.
Um,
And just watch those
Just like
thoughts.
seeing it in other people too. It's kind of like mind-boggling. Like becoming aware a little bit, and then you start to see just certain tendencies in other people. Like they just really can't help themselves
They
either.
can't help it. That's why we can't judge one another. Nobody has a right to judge no one. Every human being, it doesn't matter how much money you have, male or female, where you're from or not from, or whatever. Every person, every human being has the same problem. And only a few will overcome it. But everybody has the same problem. And so we can't judge. We should speak up, but don't judge. And that little light that you have now, it's going to take you a long ways. So stay with it. All right? Amazing. Yes, sir. Any other question? Hold on. First, is there another question about anything?
One other question. I guess this will be my last one, but
No, don't worry. This is what this
see-
is all about.
I think like the self-judgment might come from like the judgment that I have towards others.
You judge others?
Like I notice myself judging others, and then maybe that's why I'm so harsh on myself.
Well, one thing for sure, there's no way around it. What you do to others, you do it to yourself. So if you judge others, you are condemning your own self. That's why that's not good to. But there is no you. But this false self is being condemned as you're condemning others. We cannot, that's one thing that human beings cannot do and be free. We cannot judge anyone, no matter what it is. Because they can't help themselves either, as we can. So cut out the judgment. You're doing it to yourself. That's why that will happen for sure. So cut that out. It doesn't mean you don't speak up, you agree or disagree with issues and things like that, but just don't judge. Never argue with anyone about anything. Don't argue with them. You don't argue with the devil in your mind, and don't argue with the devil in other people. The devil wants two devils arguing. That's how he stays alive inside of human beings. So never argue. You can speak up, but don't argue. But stop judging others. You little judger. You seem like an alpha male, and he's judging. He's a beta. But no, don't judge. I don't care what, don't judge. When that voice comes to you to judge others, let it pass. That doesn't mean you agree with what's happening. It's just you're not judging because they can't help it. They're not in control. All right? Did you have any other questions?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's clear.
Right on. Yes, sir.
So for the past few weeks, I've been working on myself a lot. And from the both biblical questions you had, do you really know somebody or what is real power. The last few weeks I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've noticed that I have absolutely no control over anything.
Yeah.
Nothing that I do. I can't even control my breathing unless I'm conscious of it. I can't control the blood flowing through my body. I can't control my actions. It's listening to the conversation this morning, it just brings up to my attention that this past week, I guess at work, I noticed that if I'm around a certain person, I start getting these emotions flare up within me. And it's just it consumes me.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it consume me, and I can't stop it. Just to your point, I'm just trying to make a comment. That
But you're absolutely right. In all honesty, now you can be on your little ego trips if you want to. Not one human being is in control of anything. We're not in control of ourselves. We're not in control of anything. Either we're being controlled by evil or we're being controlled by good. And you can only serve one. You can't serve both. If you're controlled by evil, then you're evil. You are evil. And nowhere around it. But once you overcome that, you're now controlled by good, you're good. And no, you're not in control of anything, never have been, never will be. You have never had your own thoughts. You have never had your own thought in your whole life. Something else is influencing you to think one way or the other. You're not in control. You're absolutely right. And as soon as you realize that you're not in control of anything, the quicker you'll become free.
And I've noticed that. And
Only an ego, people on an ego trip, especially intellectuals, they love to think that they're in control, and they're not. And everything is all messed up. You go to a counselor or a psychiatrist or something like that, they keep you there for a year. They have you come back every day and you talk about the same thing. Oh, I ate my mama. Oh, but didn't I say that last week? Well, tell me about how you hate your mama. But didn't I say that 6 weeks ago? And then they give you pills. They don't do anything to help you to make you free at all. They do not show you or point to a way to overcome the anger so you can be free. They don't have it. But they have all these degrees. They have degrees of the yang yang. Nobody knows what the yang yang is, right? But you're right. Nobody's in control. Not one person in this earth is in control of themselves. But you're right.
And lately, the silent prayer for me has just been getting more and more intense.
Nice.
Like, I just feel that the pain just gets stronger and stronger. And I notice that my body just, I want to like move, I want to do something. I want to pick up my phone, or I want to stand, I want to walk. It doesn't let me sit still.
Yeah.
And if I'm conscious about it, the more it's like, I can see it flaring up. I don't know, it's crazy.
Right on.
Can I also make a comment about the couple, the commanding the wife thing, if that's okay?
The woman that wanted her man to be alpha, and he refused to be it.
Yeah. So, in my marriage, I noticed before when I was beta and I had no control over anything, it was just nothing but problems.
Yeah.
I thought I was being nice by letting her take control or whatever, and then I realized, this is my experience, that from her, my mom, my mother-in-law, no women, no matter what they say, wants to have control. They absolutely don't want to have control, and they want to see their man have control.
Yeah.
They want to be told
Women
what to
hate
do.
weak men.
They absolutely hate it. When they see weak, they get angry, and then they flare up, and then they hate men. But the reality is they want to see us men say yes, no, and put your foot down. So if you put your foot down and you tell them.
Right.
So if you put your foot down, there may be some resistance at first, but that's because they know you're right.
Yeah, it takes about 50
years.
years.
Huh?
It takes about 50 years, and then you die.
Just about. Right when the life insurance expires, that's when
it's over.
That's when they act up.
No, you're right about that. The right women want men to be right, and the right men want women to be right, and that's what especially if you want to get married and all that, you want them to be right. That's what makes a good family. Absolutely, man. Amazing. Well, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
How you been since you was up here talking the other day?
It has truly been a ride.
Meaning what?
There has been so many incidents where I have seen the devil just peek, just kind of like, hey.
Yeah.
I've seen it, and it is just incredible. It's been incredible.
Nice. Well, stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. All right?
Okay.
It's funny, when you look at her, she look like she's so nice and just be a good wife, a good friend. Look at her.
I know, she looks like such a strong,
Right.
powerful individual, and I'm like, why are you at Alpha Male Central, you know what I mean? But I'm hearing what you're saying about, like, no free will, you're either controlled by this or that, and it's like, no wonder you think that men should control women, because you think that all individuals are controlled by something else.
Meaning
you know what
what?
I mean? So it's like control, 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 control. It's just this whole cycle. So I guess it makes sense, your logic, why you would think that.
Do you think you're in control?
It's God to man to man to woman. But I'm so sorry. I'm a lot stronger and smarter than a lot of men, and
believe
so
that.
are a lot of women. This woman right here. So why should they be in control of me? I think that in partnerships, it definitely makes sense that there's a leader and a follower, but it switches up for every individual. And I think that, like, in certain, like this, you're just not like a pushy guy, which is great. You know what I mean? Like, that's
He's
just
not
you.
like a pushy guy?
No, like, I just think that,
Oh.
you know what, I think that this whole, like, hierarchy of control and
Right.
everything, it also, like, first, I think it's just, like, logistically flawed, but I also think that it kind of takes away a lot of accountability. And also it's like, oh, well, if I'm no one and I didn't do any of my bad things, then I didn't do any of my good things either. And it's like, if you're not really doing anything, why are you here? You know
Have
what I
you
mean?
done bad things before?
Yeah,
You have, and why did you do them?
because I wanted to.
Why?
Because there were certain things that in that moment it would have benefited me to do it.
Have
And I've
you-
also done a lot of great things, and I take credit for both.
Have you done bad things that would hurt you?
Yeah,
And why
but
did you?
not always hurts me, actually.
Why did you do bad things that would hurt you?
Because it had benefits in the moment.
So you wanted to do the bad things?
Yeah.
Are you in control of your own life?
I control certain things that I do. I make conscious choices. I don't control a lot of things, and all of this, like, I don't control my circumstances per se, but I control what I do with my circumstances.
Are you in control of your own life?
That's a loaded question. Like I said, I'm not in control of my circumstances. I'm in control of what I do with them.
And so are you in control of your own life, though?
To a certain extent.
Why not all the way?
Because, like I said, and, like, I think that, like, it's just kind of like you're making, like, such a, like, strong statement when it should be, like, a little bit more, like, fuzzy, because, like, again, like, you control your choices and your interpretations to a certain extent, but you can't control all of the external influences.
And why not? If you're in control of your own life, why? And I'm not talking about anyone else,
Yeah,
only
yeah.
you, right? And what happens in your life, no one else's life. If you are in control of your life, why aren't you in control of everything concerning your life?
Well, it's kind of like the nature versus nurture thing. There's a lot of things that are, like, affected by your genetics, which is out of your control, and then your environment, which is out of your control. But then you control how you react.
Well, I'm not
to
talking
that.
about the environment or the genetic thing. I know physically you may have issues that have nothing to do with you, right? But why aren't you in control of your entire life?
Okay, if you ask me, do I want to put my right foot out or my left foot out? I'm gonna make a choice. It's not like the devil telling me to do that.
But I'm not asking you that. Those are practical choices, whether you want to put your left foot out or right foot out. But why aren't you in control of your own life?
Because there are certain things that people can't control. I'm not saying that people can control everything.
What can't you? What one thing that you cannot control, other than put your left foot out, your right foot, blah blah blah, right?
I can't, like, control if I get cancer. Like, it hits random people. I can't control if they want to become a couple. I can't control that. Like, that's fine.
But how about your life?
In my life, I can't control if a teacher doesn't like me
Can
to a
you-
certain extent. There are things,
Can
but
you
also it's
give
just like,
your
why would someone be alive if they're just being controlled by something? Like, why should they be alive? What's the
Well-
point? If you're not making any choices, your thoughts aren't your own,
why would you want to, what's the point of that? Like, you're just a sheep at that point. You're just a living entity being controlled by someone else. And so it's like, it doesn't make life under that framework sound very fun or purposeful.
I totally understand what you're saying, especially being so young. I do understand, but I want to come back to that. So I want to do something else real fast because of time, but I want to come back to that, right? Don't let me finish without that. Joel, you had your hand, and then this young lady. Yes.
Yeah, I understand what she's saying about the hierarchy thing. What the lady
The
saying.
what?
The hierarchy thing. She said she doesn't believe in the hierarchy, like the man over woman. And I understand what she means. But
what do you understand about it?
Well, let me get to it. Is that she thinks it doesn't exist because she's seeing people abuse it. She's not seeing it done properly. But if it happens naturally and people do it right, then she would realize that it's supposed to naturally flow that way. And it doesn't mean that you boss people around, doesn't mean that they're a puppet. But how she's seeing it as 20, and the guys around, the relationships around, and what these like quote unquote alpha males are learning, they're learning it, but they're abusing it because they think it's something that it's not. So that's what she's seeing. But if it's done in the natural way, which most people don't see, then they would realize that, oh, there is an order to life. So
I understand what you're saying. Ooh, you like that? I understand what you're saying. But that's not the reason, though.
It's true. I think more just like.
See?
I mean, it's in a certain sense, yes, but it's more just like, you could say that there are alpha and beta individuals, but I've met a lot of men that are stupid and should not be given a platform or any power. Like, that's just how it is. And then there are women that should be given platform and power because they're smart and they're practical and whatever the fuck. Like, it's just.
Is it possible to be an alpha female?
That's the thing. If you're gonna say alpha female, alpha male, beta male, what about females? Like, it's not male over female, it's one person over the other person. It's a smart person over a stupid person.
I see what you said. So there's no such thing as an alpha male or alpha female.
No, it's a leader versus a follower.
I agree. It's just a word made up by the young people.
Yeah,
It's made up by the weak guys.
That's the thing, because a lot of. I just know too many stupid, weak men to be like, yeah, men know more. Men should be in charge. Like, I'm sorry, but no, I should. Like,
I understand.
You know?
I understand.
But yeah, so.
The reason is not because of the example she sees around her. Is she didn't get that with her father.
No,
it started with the father first. No,
and he's dumb.
But that's not good though. He's not supposed to be super controlling. He is supposed to be right. And being right, he doesn't have to control you or anyone because he's being controlled by what is right, and so will his family. You can't control another person and expect things to come out right, to turn out right. And so it started with that.
He has to be right, and I have to be right. We should all be right.
That's right.
The standards should be the same for everybody.
And if the father is right, I promise you,
no.
Has your father been right, you will be right today.
And if my mother was right. It's not just on the father, not just on the mother. It's like these are two
Hold on a minute. It's from the whole, it's the family. If the father's right, the family's going to be right.
Mom is never right.
No. It's not the father is the backbone of the family. I don't agree with that either.
I understand
it's a
that. I
partnership
totally
of
understand
two individuals. Literally couldn't make a child without both people.
I totally understand why you think that way. Keep on living.
Thank you.
Right. Let me do this because of time. Maybe you had a question?
That look you saw was not a question.
Oh, okay.
That was not a question.
What was it?
Yeah, well, you know what? Actually, it is a question. So to the young lady that said that she's very empathetic and she's very compassionate, it's interesting because you pick and choose who you're compassionate to, and you pick and choose who you fight for. You just said men are stupid, and that some of them, lots of them are stupid, and you're smarter than them, and you deserve to be in a position and not be told what to do. And this is no judgment because I had to check it. I had to check it at the door because I know that the devil is real and hell is nothing to play with. And so I try really hard to check myself because I don't want that inside of me. But I say that because if you don't care for one, you don't care for any. So if it's only the homeless person or the woman that doesn't speak up but yet she's smarter and she has more master's degrees and all of a sudden some man got promoted, if you only care for her but you don't care for him, it's interesting because that's not kind of how it works. But I mean, maybe you can rationalize it. That's what the purpose of all that intellect is so that you can explain it. But what it looks like to me, and again, I hope I'm checking myself at the door, but what it looks like to me is that you stay busy being busy. And if you are able to be still, you won't necessarily look at everyone else all the time. You'll be able to see what's going on inside yourself. And for me, again, you have no reference to who I am. I think you're a wonderful person for even coming here with your mom. I think it's a great way to spend Mother's Day. I just am observing, you know. I know what it's like to have a lot of hell inside. And it's not the peace that you think it is.
Yeah, she's gonna forgive her parents. She'll be fine. Yes. Why you sitting there all prim and proper and not saying anything?
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
And
any question about anything?
I don't have any questions. I do have a comment, though. You know, I'm listening in a different way now, Jesse. And when I listen to people speak now, and this is since doing the silent prayer and a recent occurrence, I'm listening from the perspective of not what they're saying about them, but how does it apply to me? Yeah. And that helps me to stay away from judgment, because I agree with what Mimi was just saying. You know, we're those of us who are here and understand this and have been into it for a while, and even the newcomers, we understand that judgment is not where we want to be. It's a very dangerous place. We don't want to be there.
Anyone that judge is evil. And
Absolutely.
that person cannot be trusted.
That
person is a murderer.
Absolutely. And to what this young lady was saying, there are a couple of comments I have. First of all, she reminds me a lot of myself when I was 20. Very opinionated, very defensive. And that was who I'm talking about myself and what came up to me as she was speaking. And through being that way, I allowed emotions to impede me from hearing. Right. So that's the first thing. And the other thing is I understand her perspective in terms of the men in this generation, because there's such a blurring of the lines. And young people today, it is a challenge to find where are the alpha men, where are the men who are not putting on dresses and putting on nail polish and makeup and saying that's okay. So I do understand her perspective on that front. And I just want to say, you know, keep living, like Jesse was saying, keep living. She's got a lot of growing to do. She'll look back and say, wow.
She's going to be fine after today. She's going to be a little rebel for a while longer. But she heard the truth today. She knows that she's going to forgive her parents. And that's just the beginning. We got to start somewhere. So
absolutely.
She'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And like I said, I'm not
at all every time she come to town, she'll be here.
Sure, hopefully.
She's going to be calling me to find out, are you sure it's starting on time? Oh, you'll be back. No.
Yeah,
Let me do this because of time. Do you want to respond to the biblical questions while you're there?
Sure.
And the last week biblical question, what is real power?
For me, real power is staying present and out of my thoughts, which has been increasingly, I heard Randy speaking on this earlier, it's become the further along in this journey I get, the more it is really becoming increasingly more challenging for me to sit. Lately, in fact, I've been hearing music, like original songs that I've never heard before, just in my head. Like, almost, like I wake up to this, I go, and it's almost to the point where it's, I want to say alarming for the sake of communication, but I've looked at that and I'm like, what is this? Like, it's just a song in my head with lyrics that I'm like, should I be writing this down? What is happening? Is this demonic? But for me, the real power is staying present and staying out of my thoughts.
Okay. Yes, Doug. Thank you. Yes, hold on 1 minute. Let me finish him and then we'll come right here. Right on. Yes.
Real
What
power.
is real power?
Not
That was our question last week.
This is the first time I heard it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You black. What is real
and
power?
evidently slow. Been a week. I would say for me is when sometimes I don't do anything in situations. I don't fight back, maybe especially. Sometimes just not doing anything and everything works out so perfect. So I would say not fighting back in a way, or sometimes just not doing anything.
Okay. Let me, right here. What is real power?
To me, it is when you realize there is a God, not believing it, but in my heart or anyone's heart, you have no doubt there is God, and He's always with you. That gives me a freedom, because it comes with the love and forgiveness. So I am powerful in my own way because I do not have any more doubt. I try to make the best decision, and I hope it was a right decision. When it was wrong, I think I'm old enough to say to that person or to the entity that I was sorry or I am sorry, and I'll try to explain and hoping they will understand it and forgive me. Whether they do or not, it is their choice, but at least I did my part. But it gives me a power to be free.
Amazing. Okay. Yes, Raymond. Thank you. What is real power, Raymond?
The power to be aware that in the moment, because that is where our true Savior is. Because in a moment you realize that of yourself you can do nothing.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Real power? I think it's when I don't know if someone said it already, but realizing that you have no control and just letting God do what He has to do, but like actually letting Him do, and also doing your part. Because it's easy to just say, okay, I'm gonna let God, do it, and then just stand there and expect God to hand everything to you. But letting go and actually doing what God is meaning for us to do, I think that's real power.
Okay. Right here.
Real power is acknowledging that within yourself you have no power. I'm kind of repeating what other people said already. And I think Hassan said it, I think last week, it's being conscious. So the power comes through God, but without Him, you have no power.
Okay. Amazing. Yes, Hank. And then Joel, and then I got to tell you a little thing, and we're out of here. Yes.
I think that it's when you're led by the Spirit. You know how the Spirit says, like Jesus said, that the Spirit is unpredictable and it's baffling to people? I think that's what real power is. When you see somebody who's just kind of led by God and speaking in with authority in a powerful way.
something like that.
Okay. Amazing. Yes, Joe.
I believe it's just faith. Faith is where the power is, because faith takes it out of your hands and gives it to the spirit within, which is God. So I believe faith is the power.
You believe faith is the power?
Right.
Oh, okay. The reason this question became a question is because I've been paying attention to the media lately and our government and all this mess that's going on, and the men and women in government and these different businesses. And I realized that they think they have power. Just because the government can tell you to go to war, they tell you to go to war, and then you find out later the war was a wrong war. It was all for their personal gain. But they can command you go to war and get you killed, right? But they feel powerful. They feel good knowing that they can send you to war. Not their own children, you to war. And they feel like they have power. I was thinking about how, how they have this so-called racism and all that crap. Everybody call everybody racist and all these different names. And the people who are doing the name calling, they think, especially when they see that you have fear of the name calling, they feel like they have power. They can make you afraid. They can make you believe racism exists, when we all know racism does not exist. It's a made-up word, right? But they have used that word for so long to get money and perceive power for themselves. They've been able to get away with it, and then especially since they know that people are afraid of that word. They know you're afraid, so they have you on the run, and they feel powerful. They feel powerful. I counsel with a lot of couples, especially married couples, and I noticed that if the wife is beating the husband, or the husband is beating the wife, whoever doing the beating feel like they have power. I'm like, well, why are you beating him? It just feel right. It feel good, and he allows it to happen, or she allows it to happen. They have a false sense of power, but what I realized, none of those things are power. They have no power at all, and that's why they have to work overtime. They lie to you and everything to pretend they have power, because they don't want you to see they have no power. So they're constantly trying to make you have it. There is not one human being on earth that has real power. Nobody has power. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. But there is a power that you can't make up. It will happen if you want it. And it doesn't come from you. You can have real power and authority of your own life right here on earth if you want it. But you got to overcome this fear. You got to overcome anger. You got to overcome comparing yourself to other people. You got to stop trying to be like other people. You got to stop wanting what other people have. It's wrong. It's evil to want what someone else have. It's evil to want to be like someone else. You're never going to have power like that. You're never going to have control. When you can get to a point where you can be you and no one else but you, you have power. It is nothing like what you imagine. But you will know it when you see it. And it's not from you. We can't take credit for it. But you can have it when you truly become yourself. And every human being, or any human being that has not overcome that fallen state, has not overcome anger and fear, you're not yourself. Now, the enemy have you thinking that you're yourself. Oh, I can say and do whatever I want. I'm equal to everybody. I'm this or that. But you're not. You're nothing. But in your own egotistical mind, you think you're something and you're not. I counsel with men and women with buku degrees, and I can't mention the name and I won't, and I don't want to. Even in government, I secretly counsel with men and women who are afraid and they have fear. But if you saw them on the TV, you would think, well, I want to be like that. But they're not happy. They are unhappy, they are miserable, they smoke pot, they get drunk at night when no one is around, They're lonely when no one is around. And they can have every material thing and all the so-called friends, but when they're by themselves, they're lonely. They tell me that I don't know what to do with myself when I'm by. I can't stand to be by myself, they say. They have to have somebody over. They have to have a party. They have to go to a party. They cannot live. They cannot be in one room by themselves for an hour. They'll go nuts. Isn't that amazing? So real power doesn't come from human beings, but you can have real power. You can have perfect peace right here on earth. I promise you can have it. It got nothing to do with your color. As a matter of fact, when you forget about the color stuff and all this other mess, you'll be free. It ain't about the color. It ain't about this or that. You can be free if you drop all those ideas. We're just human beings, and human beings are evil. All human beings are evil, but you can overcome it. You're not stuck unless you want to be stuck. Here's what I want to tell you too, is that there is a God and there's a devil. Whether you know it or not, accept it or not, realize it or not, there is a devil and there is a God. God is not the devil and the devil is not God. But the one thing I want you to know for sure and without a doubt, the devil's worst fear is that you might find God. He does not want you to find God. He works overtime to make sure that you do not find God. He tell you all kind of weird things in your head. He makes you feel a certain way, act a certain way, do a certain thing, because he does not want you to find God. He doesn't want it. And when he, for example, the two brothers here, when we were talking about forgiving your mother, the devil doesn't want you to just go and forgive, because he knows that he has to depart from you. An unforgiving heart is where the devil dwells. But when you forgive, he cannot dwell inside of you anymore, and you are free. So he'll tell you, oh, well, have a little conversation about something, about it. Or wait until later. Or don't hurt her feelings or his feelings or whatever, right? Because he doesn't want you to find God. That is his worst nightmare, is that human beings might find God. He'll let you think you're smart. He'll let you think you have some sense. He'll make you feel emotionally a certain way, good or bad. He'll make you feel that way because he does not want you to find God. He works overtime. He makes you hate yourself. He tell you, oh, you did wrong, so you're judging yourself. That's him saying you're not you. Because he doesn't want, he doesn't want you to find God. And your little friends don't want you to find God. I hear so many times when men and women are waking up, and then they're so excited that they can finally see it, and they go and tell a family member, or they tell somebody, the loved ones, or the family member get mad at them. Because, oh, you think you're something, you found God. You think you're better than me now. And they'll build an army against you, because human beings are like wolves. They have to join armies together and fight one another to stop one person that try to get away. Wolves cannot allow for one wolf to get away. If one wolf got away, they'll all gather together, have a little meeting, and they'll find you and hunt you down to stop you from getting away. Because they don't want you to get away. That's how evil is. It doesn't want you to get away. It would rather for you to think that you're smart, you're better than someone else. You know what you're doing, you're this. Anything it'll make you depressed or suicidal, or a lot of young kids are depressed today and lost. Because they're lost in imagination, of course, but the devil doesn't want them to get away. He wants your soul. And as long as you have anger, he will control you. But when you let that anger go, nobody or nothing can control you. But you gotta see that you're no good. And you don't have to admit it to the world, but at least to yourself, you can admit to yourself, I'm evil, I am no good. As the young lady was saying earlier, if you don't love all you love none. The Jews can't love the Palestinian, or the Palestinian can't, the Palestinians can't hate the Jews, and the Jews can't hate the Palestinians, but love other Christians. If you don't love your enemy, you love none. You love no one. God loved all. He loved everyone. He loved everyone. And one last thing, because I can go on with this, but I won't. The one thing I can promise every one of you in this room, and every one of you that's listening out there, you're not your thoughts, and you're not your emotions, and you're not your body. And the last thing the devil wants you to know is that. He doesn't want you to know that you're not any of those things. You're not your depression. You're not your suicidal thoughts. You're not your loneliness. You're not your fear. You're not your doubts and your worries. You're not any of those things at all. It's all an illusion. It's just an illusion. And the problem with you, you won't let the illusion go. You'd rather believe the lie. But it's just an illusion. It's not real. I promise you, I'm telling you, and I'm black and slow. Did you know I was black and slow? Hey, did you know I was black and slow?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an illusion. If a black and slow person can know, you can know too. We all were created to be free. We were not created to suffer, to worry, to have doubt, to try to control other people, to have friends all the time or no friends at all. We were not created that way. We were created to be free. And you can be free right here, right now, if you let the illusion go. We're not created to be alcoholics and drug addicts and fentanyl addicts or even try to control your wife or your wife to control you. If relationships are not happening naturally, they're not supposed to be. Because if you try to make a relationship work, it's never going to work. Either you want to be my friend or you don't. And you have a right not to want to be my friend, and I have a right not to be mad at you for not wanting to be my friend. Or if you don't want to be my wife, you have a right not to be my wife. And I have no right to try to make you be my wife. If you want to live in your hell, either one of you, me or anyone, you have a right to live right in your hell. And I don't have a right to be mad at you about living in your hell. That's your hell. And your hell is inside of you. It's not out there. It's in here. All of your miseries and your suicidal thoughts and your emotions, everything is inside of you. It's not out there. It's out there inside of other people. They have their own misery. But your hell and your fear is inside of you. You overcome your own fear, you will have perfect peace and free right here on earth. You don't have to wait until you die. Your fear is inside of you. When you feel fear, except for practical fear, you don't want to walk down the road and get mugged. I'm not talking about practical fear, but that fear inside of you, worried and that's your fear. It ain't nobody. You can't blame anyone else for it. It's no one else's fault but yours. You walk into a crowd and you feel insecure in the crowd. Oh, I gotta find somebody to hang out with real fast because I feel insecure in this crowd by myself. That's your fear. That's you feeling insecure. Nobody's making you feel that way, even if they're trying to make you feel that way. Even if it was in you, you couldn't feel that way. That's your fear. It's inside of you. Your hell is inside of you, and nobody else is to blame. The parent is to blame because they traumatized us and caused us to become that way. But as adults, you are responsible for your own hell. You can't blame nobody else for it. You are your own misery. That makes sense? And so when you're feeling this stuff, don't blame nobody. It's in you. You should question, why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel angry? Why do I feel insecure? Why am I blaming somebody else for whatever, right? And if your husband don't want to, your wife don't want to stay with you, let them go. Okay, bye. Don't make anybody stay with you. That ain't love, and that's not volunteer. And don't, oh, I'll do anything to keep you. I'll do anything for you. You worshiping the devil. You're telling the devil, I'll do anything to stay with you. You're setting yourself up. That's not love, and that's not freedom. That you're supposed to be free. We were created to overcome hell and be free. So I want to encourage you, do what you want. This is Mother's Day. Do what you want. Stay in your hell or overcome your hell. And here's how you do it. And when somebody already mentioned this, so I'll just slightly mention it. The next time you feel anything, whether good feelings or bad feelings, anger or whatever, I want you to try this. The next time you feel anything, stay in the fear. Stay with it and watch it. And stay with it and watch it. And I promise you, you'll overcome it. It'll be taken away from you. But don't run, don't run from it. Don't go unconscious. Oh, I have fear. And you go unconscious and go and get a sweet potato pie and some barbecue or something. Ooh, it's so good. I had to hurry home. But stay with your fear. Stay with your loneliness. Stay with your doubts. Stay with it, meaning to watch it. But go about your day, go to work, do your thing, but don't run away from the fear. You're going to see it's not you. Let God take care of it. It'll be taken away from you. It'll give you perfect peace. But you got to stay with it. Don't turn on the TV right then, or don't get on the internet or YouTube, whatever you're doing. When you feel, that's the only time you can do it. That's the only right time. But stay with it. Be conscious of what you're thinking and feeling, and don't call it you. Don't get mad at it. Don't argue with it. Just stay with it, and you will be saved from it. The light will destroy the darkness. The light, but you got to let the light save you from the darkness. He is trying to save us. God is trying to save us from the darkness, but you keep running away from the darkness by calling up a friend or going to a party or trying to do something to run away from it. So stay with it so you can overcome it. He's trying to save you from that. That's what he's trying to save you from, the hell that you're living in, thinking that is you. It is not you. All right, so stay with it. Do the silent prayer. Go and forgive. Forgive your mother and your father. I'm sorry for resenting you. I realize now you couldn't help yourself. You did the best you could. Your life will change. Your heart will change. And then you start to overcome the illusionary world that you've been living in. All right? Happy Mother's Day. I hope you enjoy your Mother's Day today. And blah, blah, blah. There's a women's forum this Thursday. Right, James? The women's forum this Thursday at 7 p.m. Every Thursday night for ladies only, and the ladies are on fire. And the first Thursday night for men only, and Sunday morning for everybody. So come on down, ladies. It's going to be amazing. And what else? Thank you for your support. We'll read your super chats on tomorrow.
And we'll have to deal with the other week's biblical question about can you ever really know somebody?
Oh yeah, last week, can you really know another person? We'll deal with, make sure I deal with this next Sunday. Can you really know another person? Because we were talking about it last Sunday, but it was so messed up I had to end it. All right, let me end this. Oh, let's smoke on this a little longer. You smoke pot?
Yeah. I know, I'm so sorry, I'm the devil.
No, go ahead. Do you smoke pot? Talking to the mic.
Yes, I smoke weed.
And why? Who said you the devil because you smoke weed?
I was being hyperbolic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you ain't the devil. Keep on smoking.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But do you really smoke pot?
I do.
And why do you smoke it?
Because I think a lot, and you know, life is really serious, so it's nice to just relax.
You what?
It's nice to relax.
Oh, it helps you to relax?
Yeah.
Smoking pot helps you to relax?
Yeah, and I get bored easily, so.
Yeah, I understand. Does your parents know you smoke pot?
She does.
She does?
My dad
And
doesn't.
what did she say about it?
I mean, I think that she knows that I have brain cells to spare.
You what?
I think that she knows that I have a couple brain cells to spare.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, stay with your little pot. Only thing I'm asking you to do, and I want you to do this, forgive your parents, your father and your
I
mother.
promise.
Okay, but stay with your little pot. Do you smoke that kind that smell real bad? You can smell it all the way down the road.
No. Not if it's good quality.
Oh, amazing. All right. Well, I'm glad you came.
Me too.
So thank you all for tuning in. I absolutely appreciate it. How did you end up with these two? I've been trying to, you look like a nice Japanese, Chinese.
I'm from Korea.
You're from Korea. How did you end up with these two?
I met her when she was 6 years old. She came to adopt the little kittens.
Oh.
And that she was her mother.
Uh-huh.
I'm the mother. She has like a little foster shelter.
Oh, your mother does?
No. Suni does. She just she fosters a lot of cats, helps them get adopted. So.
Oh, I see. Whoa.
Then I got to know her, and I got to know her, and then knew the story about their lives. So that's approximately 12 years ago.
And you've been like praying to God to help you ever since, huh? Help me, Lord, with these two. Well, I'm glad you came.
Yes.
Right.
I pray God is with them always.
Yeah.
God has been with them always. And the little girl, she just hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah, she's on her way.
Yes.
From the pot smoking stuff, she's on her way.
Yes. She's a very bright and warm-hearted person.
Yeah, I can
but
tell.
Sometimes I notice a lot of children, they stayed away from God for a long time.
Yeah.
And one day, they will realize He's there, He was there always.
That's right.
And it is her job to try to make her see it a little earlier than a little later. And so
But
she's
the mother's
trying.
not going to be able to make her see.
Well,
because
she's
she
giving
resent the-
opportunity.
Yeah.
Like today is a good day.
Yes.
I thank you for that open conversation with her. It's the first time I saw her open herself to somebody, and it is very unusual. I think it must be a very common experience. You are having it, but for me to see her that way, it was really good. So I'm very glad she asked me to come. I'm glad Lucretia was doing Mom a favor to a Mother's Day gift. So I have a good feeling in my heart.
Right on.
She's going to do what she promised you. She's
No,
very
I believe
straightforward
that.
with her word.
Yeah.
So she will forgive their parents for shortcomings, and then it will give her freedom, like you said.
Right on.
That will be soon. And I thank you very much.
You're welcome. Oh, amazing.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all for tuning in. I'm so out of time. And again, we'll do the Super Chats tomorrow. I'll see you on Thursday, ladies, at 7 p.m. Happy Mother's Day. Peace out.